Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be reviewing day number 1 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers mandatory mini camp. Everybody's coming back together. We talked about it in previous videos. Brady and the boys, yeah, they were off doing their own thing during the OTAs and during the rookie mini camp, but now everybody's back together. We were talking about guys who are, battling for, deep backup jobs and battling for roster spots and practice squad spots and things along those lines. And even, the rookie draft class has been doing some good things as well. But now we're going to see this entire team come together and really start to see some pretty heated competition. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see. I am getting the notes from how this first day of practice went from Matt Matera over at pewterreport.com. I will have a link to the article as well as a link to the Pewter Report YouTube channel down in the pinned comment in the comments section down below. Go subscribe to the Pewter Report YouTube channel and go check out their website. They do phenomenal work. But we are going to get started here with the players who missed this first day of practice, just so if I don't mention these players' names, you guys know why. So all these players are dealing with, nagging minor injuries, more precautionary than anything that they're being held out. All of them should be ready to go by the start of the season. But the players are Ndamukong Suh, who is dealing with a wrist injury, O.J. Howard, who is still dealing with that Achilles injury. Jaylon Darden and Antonio Brown were both held out. I believe Jaylon Darden is dealing with thigh tightness. I don't remember off the top of my head. You then have Antonio Brown, who is dealing with that knee procedure that he had. Again, minor, everybody should be fine. You then have John Franklin III, who has been dealing with a nagging injury, and then Jordan Whitehead, who of course hurt his shoulder during the NFC Championship game. So those are all the players who were out for that practice, but making their returns was right guard Alex Kappa and outside linebacker Joe Tryon. And we'll talk about both those guys in a little bit, but those are the players who were out. And I do want to say Darden, Brown, Franklin, and Whitehead were in attendance. Suh and Howard were not there. So, with that being said, let's get started. The first thing I want to mention is Tom Brady. He did participate in this practice. He's not 100% yet from his knee procedure that he had done, but he was ready to go and looked really good. He looked like the, the typical Tom Brady, doing Tom Brady things, making Tom Brady throws. He put in time with his usual guys, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, all the names, Scotty Miller among others. But I do want to make a point that he was working with Giovanni Bernard, Tyler Johnson, and jaydon mickens at times as well. Giovanni Bernard, big free agency signing for the Buccaneers. He's going to add another element to this offense. Tyler Johnson, Brady, and jaydon mickens, of course, as well. Tom Brady's already had some opportunities to throw the ball to both those guys. Both those guys have looked good, in my opinion. Tyler Johnson's had a couple of decent moments in his rookie year as a wide receiver. Jaydon mickens, we talked about him in the OTAs. He was uncoverable in certain portions, in certain days of those practices. So I'm just saying, jaydon mickens might have a legitimate chance to make this roster as a special teams guy. He's looked pretty good as a wide receiver. He's getting work with Tom Brady. He still has some value as a special teamer. Maybe not so much as a returner anymore. Maybe him and Jaylon Darden can both return kickoffs together. We'll have to wait and see. But also, I think he could just be a good general special teams guy. Keep an eye on jaydon mickens. But Tom Brady was not, 1,000% perfect in this practice. He did actually throw an interception. The player who got that interception on Tom Brady, you're probably not going to guess this, it was actually Ross Cockrell got an interception on Tom Brady. And you guys might not remember, but whenever I talked about the OTAs and players to watch, I mentioned Ross Cockrell as a guy because I wanted to make sure that there was established depth after, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Jamel Dean. I wanted Ross Cockrell to establish himself as that guy who could come in, be a fringe starter guy, and close that gap, I guess you could say. And he's doing that. Ross Cockrell is good. He's a very solid veteran cornerback. He's a number 4 guy who has got, the ability to be a starter, a fringe starter if the Buccaneers need him to. So good job, Ross Cockrell, getting an interception on the GOAT. Gronk had a great catch from Tom Brady, and Godwin had a touchdown catch during practice as well. We'll talk about more about Godwin in a little bit. Joe Tryon practiced for the first time as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, and Arians said he enjoyed what he saw from Tryon. Here's the quote. "He's full speed now," Arians said. "He looked really good. He's obviously everything we thought he was. We'll learn more in pads, but he's slippery in shorts, and a lot of guys aren't. he showed a really good skill set. So, high praise from Bruce Arians here for Joe Tryon. Overall, good for the young rookie to go out there and make that kind of impression in the first day of practice. I know a lot of people are excited for what Joe Tryon is going to do, and hey, I'm right there with you guys. I can't wait to see what he does. I think he can be a very productive rookie in his first year. Moving on to Godwin. Godwin was a monster in the red zone, scoring 2 touchdowns in 4 plays from Tom Brady. He later scored again in practice from Brady yet again. So that Brady-Godwin connection, hey, that's still going strong. Godwin's still just an absolute beast. He is in a contract year again. He received the franchise tag. I believe somebody asked him about a potential extension, and he just said, hey, I'm just going to play football and going to let the chips fall where they may. Of course, his agent and, the Buccaneers, there is mutual interest there. So we'll see if they can iron out a long-term deal. Gronk looked in better shape and smoother than he did last year, in more of a football shape, if you will. So Gronk, he's looking healthier, he's looking more ready to go, he's looking more fit, which is great because a smoother, healthier, more athletic Gronk is a scary thing for the rest of the league. So pretty nice to see him continue to get into the groove of things. Of course, the NFL, it's going to take you a year to get back into the swing of things anyway, so it seems like Gronk is getting even more into the swing of things, building more momentum for himself, and yeah, we're all here for that. He did have a nice touchdown grab in the back of the end zone from Blaine Gabbert, the gift of Gabbert, the supposed most underrated player in the entire NFL, so you love to see that. Blaine Gabbert obviously was not in OTAs. It was mainly Kyle Trask and Ryan Griffin, or pretty much exclusively Kyle Trask and Ryan Griffin. Gabbert was with Brady and the boys. But moving on a little bit further now, Giovanni Bernard had a really good day catching the football, making multiple tough catches, but I do want to make a note here. He did have one pass go through his hands. Javon Hagan was in coverage on that play. It was good coverage at that, so it is what it is. The other running backs each had a drop in drills in their own right. That was Keshawn, Vaughn. That was, obviously Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. So all the running backs had a drop each, but Giovanni Bernard set himself apart by making some really tough, really good catches there. So that kind of makes up for that drop, in my opinion. He's not going to catch 100% of the balls all 100% of the time, guys. So yeah, he did have a drop, but he made some phenomenal catches as well, so it kind of balances out. One-on-ones was a pretty interesting thing here between the defensive backs and some of the Buccaneers receivers. You had Rob Gronkowski versus Antoine Winfield Jr. I wish we could see that. We'll probably see that in training camp. Gronk won that one, although Antoine Winfield Jr. was in a good place to make a play after the catch. You then had Mike Edwards versus Cameron Brate. Mike Edwards won that battle, who's pretty underrated guy on this Buccaneers roster, by the way. I think Edwards is a very, very solid role player, very solid fringe starter type of guy, and he got the better of Cameron Brate, who is no slouch as a receiving tight end, by the way, so good job to Edwards there. And then finally, this one, gosh, I wish I could see this. It was Carlton Davis versus Mike Evans. And guys, Carlton Davis won that one-on-one matchup. We do not know the context. Might have been a bad throw. Who knows? But the point is that Carlton Davis won in a one-on-one against Mike Evans. Awesome. Really not surprising at this point, considering Carlton Davis has gone up against some of the best wide receivers in the league, with Tyreek Hill twice, Michael Thomas 3 times last year, and also, obviously, he went toe-to-toe with Davante Adams, I believe, twice last year as well. So, yeah, I mean, Carlton Davis is built for this, and Mike Evans, he is one of the best wide receivers in the league, so I really wish I could have seen that matchup. I'm sure we'll get to see it a lot in training camp, but pretty interesting to get that insight on those one-on-ones by Matt Matera here. Grant Stuard also had an interception on a pass that went through the hands of Justin Watson. We don't know who threw that pass, but Justin Watson certainly has a lot to prove. In terms of a wide receiver, he hasn't really done much to set himself apart from really anybody else. If anything, he's left a lot to be desired as a wide receiver. And then in terms of special teams play, hey, he's been a great special teamer. I'm not going to deny that at all. He really has done some really good things as a special teamer, but whenever you compare it to guys like, Jalen Darden and Jaydon Mickens, who are not only good special teamers, but they're good wide receivers as well, where does that leave Justin Watson? I'm not sure. We'll see how he does. I think he can improve. And like I said, he has a great, role for himself in special teams. But you got to make plays like that. You got to get those passes caught. But good job by Grant Stuard, friend of the channel, by the way. We interviewed him just a short time ago to get an interception. He's continuing that momentum that he built for himself in rookie minicamp and in OTAs. He now continues to make plays here in the mandatory minicamp. Antonio Hamilton also had a pass breakup during a red zone portion of the practice. Again, it seems like him and really Nate Brooks have been getting mentioned the most for this fifth cornerback job. Cameron Kinley, unfortunately, will not be participating in the near future here for that fifth cornerback job, as the Navy is basically saying you can't go play in the NFL right now. That does suck, but Antonio Hamilton's going to get his opportunities. Nate Brooks is going to get his opportunities. Chris Wilcox, hey, don't forget about 7th round draft pick Chris Wilcox, D. Delaney, Herb Miller, some of these other guys that are there battling for that cornerback job. But it seems like definitely Antonio Hamilton's name has been mentioned a couple of times now. Nate Brooks' name has been mentioned a couple of times as well. Those are honestly kind of the two veteran guys right now who have been getting the most momentum on their side. Another 1v1 that happened during this practice was VITA VEA versus Alex Kappa, both recovering from injuries, both pretty much 100% healthy now for the most part, and VITA VEA absolutely demolished Alex Kappa during this 1v1. I don't blame Alex Kappa at all, by the way. I'm convinced that VITA VEA could do that to really any offensive lineman in the NFL if he gets them quick enough and in the right circumstances. VITA VEA could take down, I think, pretty much anybody in the league. So it is what it is. I still believe in Alex Kappa. He will be a very solid, capable offensive lineman, and VITA VEA is just VITA VEA. We all know how just disgustingly strong that man is. So very excited to see both those guys healthy, back on the field, and getting some healthy competition in against each other. So good for that. Anthony Nelson and William Golston both had a pass breakup at the line of scrimmage during this practice. Will Golston obviously coming back after some time away. Anthony Nelson, this is the second or third time he's had a pass breakup at the line of scrimmage. We talked about it in OTAs. He made a couple of plays batting down passes at the line of scrimmage. He continues to do that. So awesome stuff. Larry Foote had some glowing reviews about Anthony Nelson, saying, hey, the only thing that's, really holding this kid back from playing more is that he's got Shaq Barrett and he's got Jason Pierre-Paul ahead of him on this depth chart. So, and now obviously Joe Tryon as well. So we'll see how Anthony Nelson does. It seems like he is working on gaining momentum, entrenching himself in that fourth edge rusher spot and trying to get some snaps come preseason and regular season and figure into that defensive rotation. So good job for both these guys getting some pass breakups. Raven Green had good coverage on a touchdown from Blaine Gabbert to Tanner Hudson. Doesn't count, unfortunately. It was good coverage, probably just a really great play by Tanner Hudson. Great throw by Blaine Gabbert. Nice to see those two building a connection. We'll see how that grows and develops in the preseason. But then also the very next play, Raven Green had a pass breakup in man coverage. So Raven Green, he's battling for a special team spot, potentially battling for a backup safety job as well with guys like Javon Hagan, who I mentioned earlier in this video. And he's a veteran. He's good at special teams. He can be a safety as well. We'll see how he continues to grow and develop. This is the first time I've heard his name mentioned here in a handful of practices and whatnot. So good for him to get that opportunity and make a couple of plays there. Finally, guys, we are going to talk about Kyle Trask, who looked good in the red zone, had 2 touchdowns during the red zone portion of practice, one to Keshawn Vaughn that was a leaping grab, and one to Josh Pearson, who is also battling to potentially make the roster there. Good of Keshawn Vaughn to get a touchdown catch there, by the way. I know a lot of people have been very meh about Keshawn Vaughn. We'll see how he does, man. I know that there's still some confusion about what his role is going to be moving forward, but obviously, you want to see the kid play well, and I think he can potentially get that chance. Kyle Trask, obviously, making some good connections there. Shout out to Josh Pearson. And yeah, overall, has a pretty good way, a pretty good note, if you will, to end off the notes there. So, guys, that's pretty much it for day number 1. Some of the starters had some good moments. Even some of the backups had some good moments as well. Guys trying to make plays, trying to carve out roles for themselves, and I'm all here for it. So, what are your guys' thoughts about all of this? Let me know down in the comments section below. What do you think about all the players that I mentioned? Guys who are doing good, guys who maybe got beat a couple of times, maybe not doing so good. Leave me your thoughts. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.